dead and a 5-year-old missing.
I never thought that this would be an arson to cover up a homicide, to cover up an abduction.
A man with a dark past becomes the focus of the investigation.
Couldn't hurt a pin drop in that room. We all knew his name.
It was a shock to everyone.
Could one man hold all the clues?
All right, I'm leaving now.
He was going to leave, and we wanted to keep him there.
Investigators searching for answers in the interrogation room.
No. You said it would freeze. No.
Every suspect accused of a crime has the right to remain silent. Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview at any moment, making it a race against time. Justice hangs in the balance.
It was in a double-wide mobile home, and those tend to burn very readily. When I arrived on scene, there was a fair amount of damage. Some of the windows had been blown out a distance away from the house. It appeared that there may have been some type of a vapor explosion. Pressure built up inside when gasoline was ignited that pushed the glass out from the frame. There was a bedroom that had some fire damage, and in that area was where there was a red plastic gasoline container that seemed extremely out of place. Some of these things just didn't seem normal for a regular fire.
Shortly after crews put out the fire inside this Bemidji mobile home, investigators found a body inside.
Once we looked inside, we found out that there was a body of a female, and there was a mattress on top of her. After removing some debris, it was noticed that her hands were in fact bound with what appeared to be duct tape.
It turned it into a homicide investigation at that point, in belief that someone was trying to cover something up by setting the place on fire.
Police are investigating the death at the mobile home as murder, and they are trying to piece together a timeline of events.
Our victim at the scene was Melissa Norby.
Melissa's cousin had called me that morning and says, "Please tell me it's not true." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Melissa's house is on fire." And I'm like, "What? My daughter is over there."
An officer contacted me and said that there was a female at the barricades that said her daughter had spent the night with Melissa. So I went out. I saw Amanda.
We searched through again. We were confident there was no other human remains in the fire.
It went from a homicide investigation to now we had an active missing child case.
It was discovered that 5-year-old had been visiting the residence the evening that the fire occurred.
The weekend of 22nd of June, Melissa called me and she said, "Can I come get your daughter to spend the night with me?" It was routine. She would take my kids overnight, and sometimes she would take them for 3 days because I trusted her.
I asked Amanda about what their fire safety plan would be at home. I wanted to know what her daughter would do in a fire. And Amanda said that her daughter would go outside and she would hide.
A team of investigators and volunteers searched the area, but they could not find the missing 5-year-old.
We were thinking there was no way that if we hadn't found her that, we thought that she had been taken.
I never thought in a million years that this would be an arson to cover up a homicide, to cover up an abduction. This girl's been missing since roughly 3 o'clock in the morning. We're worried that time is not on our side. We're worried that we're going to be recovering as opposed to rescuing.
I was really scared. I hear about it all the time. If you don't find your child within the first, 24 hours, You probably won't get her back. My heart dropped to the floor. I said, I don't care what you have to do to find her.
We began to do victimology, talking to everyone who may provide us some little piece of information about Melissa's life.
We started to learn more about Melissa Norby's life through interviews with coworkers and her friends.
Melissa's cousin was interviewed by agents regarding Melissa's relationships with other males. Her cousin told the agents that she was aware that Melissa had been seeing a male recently from the Bemidji area.
So you are the cousin to Melissa? Correct. We talked about possible people who would be associated with Melissa or around her.
I knew the name Jake from very personal conversations Melissa and I had. She said they had been playing it rough. She was into, not S&M, but more like daddy, little girl, stuff like that.
You know how they met?
Melissa is always online.
Melissa referred to him as Jake. She was also able to provide that this individual also owned a food truck.
We called the city clerk looking for our food truck licensees, and she told us Jake Eats is owned by Jacob Kinn. You could have heard a pin drop in that room. We all knew his name.
It was like a light bulb went off because we were familiar with him in investigations.
Jacob Kinn had child pornography convictions. He had tried to purchase a young girl online for photographing purposes.
Based on his past history, based on his relationship with Melissa, Jacob Kinn was likely our guy. He was on probation at the time of this investigation. We asked the probation officer to call him and say, you know how these things work. Every time a kid goes missing, they always look at the people who are on probation for similar crimes. Just come on in. It's not a big deal. You'll be excluded very quickly. The whole idea of making a very nonchalant encounter. The first thing we do, we reach out to the cell phone company and begin to get locations for Jacob's cell phone.
We wanted to know exactly where he was.
Jake, this is Chad. Good, Jake. He's also with the PCA. Good. How are you?
Agent Girardi and Agent Musaeus had been tasked with interviewing Mr. Kinn when he arrived at the law enforcement center that night, largely because they didn't know him, they didn't have any connection to him.
All right, you came into the police department, we're inside the interview room, you got two officers talking to you, you're not under arrest, you understand that?
Yep. And Jake, if there's any point that you don't want to talk to us, walk right out the door and walk through the double doors just like you came in, and it's fine.
When Kinn first came in, it was important for us to just establish rapport with him. That was my goal, not challenge him or get him upset that he would walk out of the interview room.
Here's the deal. We get missing kids. Guess who the first people we talk to?
Us?
Yeah.
I already knew that. I figured, but...
And that's why you're here?
You've seen the reports of this missing girl? Have you seen... I haven't seen any reports.
Okay.
My ex brought it up because her boyfriend works for the fire department.
Yeah, did you hear about the fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know that lady, actually. And what's her name? Melissa Norby. If that's right. Yeah. When was the last time that you've seen her? Like 6 or 8 months ago. Oh, so it's been a long time. Yeah.
He didn't know that Melissa had talked to her cousin about Jacob being back in her life, so he probably thought that we weren't aware of that information.
There was a fire. There was a body found. We don't know what happened, okay?
I stopped at her house once.
Was that the house at Hillcrest?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like 1.5 years ago. I stopped there.
As we're interviewing Jacob, and we know because we've talked to all these other people who say they're in a relationship. They know each other. They know each other well. And I'm watching to see how he is going to answer the question. He is distancing himself from her And there's only one reason why.
Deadly house fire yesterday morning. Fire started around 3:30 in the morning.
Police in Bemidji search for a 5-year-old girl.
She was last seen wearing a black shirt, a pink skirt, and a pink bandage on her arm.
All right, last 48 hours.
Oh, let's see.
We want him to lock in his time frame, establish his timeline on where he was and who he had been with.
Where did you just come from?
Well, I was fishing up north.
Okay. Fishing where?
Clear Lake.
Clear Lake. Catching anything?
No, I wish.
What are you fishing?
Bass.
Okay.
We just want to keep him talking because the more he talks, the more comfortable he is. So when we do ask the hard questions, he feels comfortable enough with our relationship to answer them.
Okay, let's, just so I can verify where I was. So if I'm gonna drive up there, what does it look like? Something, you know? Circle Lake. Okay. I don't know what really this has to do with tonight, though. I mean, it's... Okay. Well, help me out with it so we can cross out our list. Resort. Good. Is it marked resort? The sign that says resort? Okay. How many cabins are there? I don't know. I haven't counted. But I just don't know why it matters. You know, where I was fishing tonight.
There was very little eye contact. He had held a defensive posture. He became defensive over very basic questions to establish alibi when these were questions that most people would have no problem answering.
Having that prior knowledge of where his cell phone location was, and he started to give us a different story of his location.
Were you fishing with anybody? No.
He had no knowledge that we had a cell phone location prior to the interview.
So from 7 till, a little while ago, you're out fishing.
Yeah.
You're pretty sure on your time frame?
I'm positive.
Okay.
He told us that he had been fishing by North Home, Minnesota, but his actual location was near Big Fork, Minnesota, and those two locations were approximately 30 miles apart. So we knew that was likely a lie, but lies are just as good as the truth in our business, especially when we can prove that he's lying.
Everything you told us is the truth. Your whereabouts, anything like that?
My whereabouts are exactly what I told you.
His story about going to where he was at was just a blatant lie.
At this point, I'm not confronting him on those lies. I'm just letting him talk. I'm fairly laid back. You'll see that my legs are kind of stretched out. My arms are crossed. In fact, I'm pretending to sound somewhat disinterested. And the reason for that is I'm gathering information. The more information we're gathering, the more relationship building is occurring.
This, Melissa, did you ever have sex with her? Never? Even years ago? No. Do you have any way to get a hold of her? Or? No. Yeah. Did she ever want to have sex with you? Did she tell you that? She texted flirty stuff, but... And when was the last time that you got a text message from her? Like, 3 months ago.
He's already told us some stuff that contradicts what he told us before. I didn't have a way to get a hold of her, but she's flirty in her text messages.
Jake, everything you told us is true.
Yes.
There's nothing that's going to interfere with your recollection of your timeline and where you were.
Once we felt we got all that information from him, it was time to start confronting him on what we actually knew and to find out why he doesn't want to go there.
Tonight, the investigation continues. 5-year-old was discovered missing after a fatal mobile home fire.
Let's start finding her. And I hope we find her.
There is a time in which the investigators determine we are moving from an interview to a confrontation.
Jake, we got reports that you had a relationship with Melissa.
There was never actually a relationship. Which is what I already said.
It was a balance of how hard should we push him and confront him on what we know.
What about her coworkers where she's working now?
I don't know any of the coworkers.
Okay, well the coworkers indicated that you guys were having sex.
I don't know any of the coworkers, so I can't say anything to that.
Jake remains in the same position he has been in this entire interview. Every chance that he gets to say I didn't do it, he's saying I didn't do it.
They said you're having sex, you're again saying, no way.
No.
We're at a stalemate here. There were several times where Paul or I would leave the room. Sometimes we find people confess better to one person than two.
You're late. Okay, put you at that lake.
Nobody.
Nobody?
I'm still not seeing why that matters at all.
I'll tell you why. Basically, Jake, your cell phone doesn't put you in that spot for me.
We started asking very pointed questions and questions that challenged his alibi and challenged him, his story to us, getting him to try to account for the information that we know.
Where were you when called me?
That's where you are. That's where your cell phone is.
I don't know how that would happen, but yeah, I wasn't getting paid for it. I had no reason being paid for it.
The frustration level increased with him, being uncomfortable answering questions. You could see that in his demeanor.
Step out, Paul, you're free.
Paul and I both leave the room, and that was a time in which we wanted to make sure we covered all bases.
When Jacob Kennedy showed up at the sheriff's department, we observed right away that his boots were wet, his pants were wet. We walked outside and took a look at his vehicle and saw flower material and weeds. So it looked like he'd been driving off the road.
Jacob parked right in front of the law enforcement center. His vehicle looked like it'd been driving out in a field, certainly not to a resort to go fishing like he said he was.
We said, all right, let's do a search warrant on the vehicle. Let's do a search warrant on his person and for his house.
The atmosphere at the police department at that point was like a full court press. Everybody is high intensity. We're aware of the clock. If we don't find her in the first 24 hours, the chances of her being alive are pretty much none.
We'd step out of the room, not only to get advice on what to ask next, but what's Jacob's body language looking like? Without us in the room, he appeared stressed. He appeared as though this was the last place he wanted to be.
All right, I'm leaving now. Like I said, I was going to move on 5 times, but we kept, like, goodbye.
He was going to leave, and we wanted to keep him there.
I don't want to hold him in the room because then, constitutionally, it looks like a detention. We're still waiting for search warrants. We're still waiting for other pieces of information. We want to keep him in that room. So we kind of walk this fine line, hoping that he stays there willingly.
There's a couple more. See, this gas can. Have you seen this before?
Look familiar?
Oh. Looks familiar. I own a gas can.
You own one like that?
I own one like it, and it's at my house. That gas can was found at the arson site. Okay.
He probably thought the gas can went up in the fire and was surprised that there was actually a gas stand fully intact, still at the fire scene.
The entire focus So R.A.P. is this little girl? Yeah. I didn't do anything to the little girl. I haven't seen the little girl. I haven't seen Melissa in a long time. I haven't done anything. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to proceed.
The confrontation of we think that you abducted the 5-year-old occurs right here.
We're going to collect some evidence, and the evidence will show either you did or you didn't. Okay, like what? Any evidence on you? Any evidence in your vehicle? Any evidence in your house?
We're going to be executing a search warrant.
It's fine. Okay.
You can't have access to those things right now.
I have to. I can't sleep anywhere else. And you don't have the search warrant yet.
That's being done. I'll go check the status of the orders.
Alright. So what happens when I drive away? Because I don't see a court order. I don't see a warrant. I'm trying to play along as been telling you guys the truth. Can we run you up to your house and get you some clothes? No. Okay. You're not going. Sit down. No. Sit down. You said I was free to leave. Sit down. You said I was free to leave. Sit down.
We all knew it. Jacob Kinn was likely our guy. We were very aware of the urgency and the time that we didn't have. We want to keep him in that room to gather the evidence to find this little girl.
At this point, you're going to have to see.
We knew that we'd put the pressure on, and he wants to leave.
Sit down. You said I was free to leave. Sit down.
We have opted to try to keep him there in order to get the search warrant signed.
At this point, I won't call an attorney. You can call whoever you want. Have a seat. Have a seat. You're being detained. You're detained in a court order. Okay. So have a seat.
We're awaiting the signature from a judge on the search warrants. I made the decision that he needs to stay here. Legally, we're able to detain him for a short period of time, waiting for that search warrant to get signed.
The court order's coming. Right? You said I was free to leave, so then when I say I want to leave, it's you have to stay.
At this point in the interview, he's had enough. I believe he's read between the lines that we know far more than what he believed we knew.
We search your house, your person, your clothes. We find no connection. Guess what?
We move on to the next person. So if I hand over my keys and my clothes, could I call my parents and have them come pick me up? Definitely. You definitely.
You're wrestling around in your head. It's like, we should just arrest him, put him behind bars. And then it was, do I have enough to arrest him? But with the investigative team there, it was, sorry, we're going to let him walk.
Hey, hello? Can you come pick me up from the police department?
We just didn't feel that there was probably enough to hold him at the time.
We watched Jacob Kinn walk out of our police department. Not in handcuffs, but a free man. He wasn't ready to confess. And time is not on our side. We had other officers and agents investigating his vehicle, and it was evident to them that he'd been somewhere rural, and we were interested in where that was.
Part of the problem with the data that we got from the cell phone was it landed out in the middle of a very rural area in Big Fork.
We took the latitude and longitude coordinates provided by the Verizon telephone company. We were able to map those coordinates, and it put the cell phone as to possibly being 5.2 miles northeast of the cell phone tower in Big Fork, Minnesota.
We were doing a map reconnaissance of the area, checking to see what other houses might be in the area. We found a property listed to a relative, but Jacob, that was right in alignment with where that phone ping showed up at. We knew we had to go check.
Grabbed my vehicle, my squad, a pair of boots, got a full tank of gas, and we made the drive to Big Fork.
When we got close to the area up in Big Fork, it was just starting to get light out. We were looking for any spots where a vehicle might have pulled off or turned around.
It had rained the night before, and as we're driving up to the intersection of Township Road 288, which is a dirt road, heading west off of the paved two-lane road that we were driving on, We could see a set of vehicle tracks. To us, it looked like the tire tracks were very similar to Jacob Kinn's tracks on his Jeep that we had looked at previously.
It was exactly what we had traveled to Big Fork to find.
We got to the west end of the township road and saw that the tire tracks had come out of a field road that also proceeded west and down a hill and into a low area. We parked the squad and proceeded on foot.
The grass was about knee-high. We followed the tracks. It was probably at least a half-mile walk. I was afraid we were going to find a little girl's body somewhere along that trail.
As we got up over the rise on the top of the field, we could see a pickup camper tucked back into the woods. The tracks pointed up to the south side of the camper.
I walked up to the camper, and the door was tied tight with a big wad of electrical tape. I was nervous and I opened up the camper door. I didn't know what we were going to find.
We got up to the camper, and around the door of the camper, you could see that somebody had placed electrical tape around the doorknob to prevent the door from being opened. And Rob looked at me and I said, Rob, just go ahead and open it. And that's when we found her.
Hi, what did you say your name was again? I'm gonna take a little video. How'd you get here?
His friends brought me here.
Don was right next to me. Turn on your cell phone, he said. We didn't have body cameras and stuff at the time.
Okay, you don't have to be scared, okay? We're the police.
I saw a little girl sitting on a bed. Looked like she just woke up. Sitting there, 10 fingers, 10 toes.
My name's Rob, and this is Don. How old are you?
Probably 5 or something.
Finding that little girl alive, I don't know if words can describe it.
Is there anybody else around here with you? Okay. Is it okay if we take a few more pictures? Okay.
We had a text thread going on to share information. Don took a picture of me and the girl and put it on that text thread. 6:15 a.m. is when I got the call from Don. He said, we have her. I said, alive? He said, alive.
What went through your mind at that moment?
That was fantastic. Never would have believed.
When I saw that text, it's still...
Are you thirsty? Okay.
Water.
It was amazing that we were able to find her alive.
My mommy's name is Amanda.
Okay.
They had called me and said, we have your daughter. She is safe. She is asking for her mom. I mean, I just want to hold her. I want to hug her. I want her in my arms.
She told us her name, her mother's name. We could see that she had tape around her legs, that she had tape around her arms.
Do you remember what Missy's friend looked like?
And she told us about the man that put her there.
What kind of car does he have?
Wait, and it has a name on it.
She told us all these little bits of describing information that described Jacob Kinn to us.
What does he look like?
She has a beard.
I'd received a text from Don Newhouse that says, she's alive, arrest him.
Jacob William Kinn, age 32, was identified as a person of interest.
I woke up to a picture of a girl that we have been looking for now 26, 27 hours. Alive and well in an agent's arms. She's alive, arrest him.
And now we're like, where's Jacob right now? We need to find him and put cuffs on him.
Police found Jacob Kinn driving his dad's pickup, traveling back to where he had held her captive. They captured him, and interviewed him again at the sheriff's office in Grand Rapids.
Our goal was, let's reconfirm his story, that he had no connection with Melissa Norby, and have him continue to deny that.
All right, Jake. You're under arrest. Okay, see that? Since you are in custody, I will read you the commando warning. Okay?
He was very smug in appearance, said very little, and I truly think when Agent Girardi and I walked into that interview room, he had no idea we knew what we knew.
Okay, all right. Has anything changed from when we talked last?
Other than being confused as to why being arrested now and what changed.
He was, why am I under arrest? What changed from a couple hours ago? So I just wanted to settle him down and let's move on from there.
Last night when we talked, you said you had no contact with Melissa Norby. Is that true? And you had no contact with the little girl.
Having Ken retell us this, or his denial of him not being around Melissa was to head off any type of story that he might try to create or explain his actions. When you're in court,
nothing's changed from last night. 100% sure?
95% sure. What's the 5%? I'm tired and groggy, and you guys kept me up all night. But you didn't really answer the question.
What was the question?
What changed between 2 hours ago and now, right?
I had the photo that Don and Rob had sent me, and I just said, I'm just going to let him know he's caught.
Is that the 5% that you're talking about that you're not sure of?
That was a moment I won't forget.
You could have heard a pin drop when Agent Girardi pulled his phone out and brought up that picture. I'll remember this forever. He stared at that phone and looked at that photo. You can see him writhe in the chair a little bit, and he knew at that moment that we had him.
They put that piece of evidence in front of him, and he shut down. That was really something to see.
Now, let's start over.
Now's the time, Jake. We know more than you think we do right now. And now's the time for you to fill in those blanks. Now's the time for you to come clean and tell us what really happened here and what's really gone on.
Take us through the night.
I try to play on his emotion. Tell us where you're at. Tell us what's happened. Let us fill in those gaps.
Started talking to Melissa Norby 2 months ago. Okay. We actually hadn't had a sexual relationship where we, role played on the phone.
Role played, and what was her role?
It was daddy, daughter, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then I went over there the other night. What night? Today's Thursday.
You go there for her or for Melissa?
It was for Melissa, but it was...
Did you know that she was going to be there?
Yeah. You did know. Hold on. I want an attorney.
He's actually smart enough to just say, I want to talk to an attorney. However, we had enough evidence that we knew what had happened anyway.
As investigators got through Jacob Ken's phone and Melissa Norby's phone, there was information that they had planned this together. that Jacob would have a relationship with her if she gave him access to a child. The plot thickened again. It was like, how many times can this case have a twist and turn like that?
Melissa being involved to the extent that she was, it was a shock to everyone.
After the initial investigation and the arrest, we found a string of text messages that showed that this whole abduction was planned out, orchestrated, and discussed amongst Melissa and Jacob. We couldn't believe it.
It really felt like we were in some movie. The plot just changed on us.
It was very shocking.
Authorities later learned that Norby had been working with this man, Jacob Kinn. He had previously been arrested for child pornography and soon became the #1 suspect.
Melissa had communicated to Jacob Kinn that they did do a staged abduction, that he would have to hurt her to make it look like she was assaulted, so that the police would believe that she was a victim as well and that a stranger had abducted this girl.
Obviously, Melissa didn't consent to her death. He put that twist in there on his own. Jacob Kinn wanted the little girl for himself, and his avenue to do that was through Melissa Nordby. It was just another chapter in Jacob Kinn's sick mind.
This mother trusted her with her child, and she took total advantage of that and betrayed it because she wanted to have a relationship with someone who obviously did not value her.
It just didn't make sense to me. The Melissa that I knew was loving, caring, protective, and then you find out that she actually helped plan this, and I don't get how a mother can do that.
As a police officer, I see victims of domestic abuse. Victims are manipulated in a way that preys on their self-worth. He made her feel so inadequate that she allowed him to abuse her family friend. She went to some pretty disgusting lengths to feel loved by somebody.
He should be in prison for the rest of his life.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if Jacob Kinn could be sentenced for long enough. But in that plea deal, kept the little girl from having to get up on the stand and testify and relive what happened.
Today, my daughter, she's thriving. She's stubborn. She's pushy and bossy. She is a normal 11-year-old child.
See, she's trying to get on my head.
Where'd she go?
She's over here.
She is amazing. Definitely my strength.
This case is a career case for me. It's had a big impact in my life.
This interview, looking back at it now, I realize how important it was.
You see that link right there?
Jacob was hard to interview because it was hard to play to his emotions.
I wasn't there. I didn't do anything to her, and I hadn't seen her.
He controlled the interview so much with his defensive responses to our questions, yet the longer he talked,
Yeah, I wasn't in Big Four.
the closer we got to recovering her. Every word out of his mouth was a piece of evidence.
I had no reason to be in Big Four.
The fact that we were able to recover her alive is nothing but amazing.
This, I think, will forever be the #1 case that I've ever worked on, just because we were able to bring her home, you know. We got her back.
Today, if you go out to Big Fork, Minnesota, where we process the camper scene, you can still see the camper tucked back into the woods. Pretty disturbing.
To look at the vastness of the area in and around Big Fork and to find this little camper, it was basically a needle in a haystack. Just never would have believed.
If we go into law enforcement to help people and to put bad people away, to be able to do both in the same day, it was a really good feeling.
There was no apology from Kinn in court, the judge sentencing him to 52 years in prison.
Everybody that helped bring her home, thank you so much. You guys are my heroes. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have her today.